Who saw the video I put up on Instagram yesterday? Today is the 16th of June, 2021. Check out our Instagram or our Facebook accounts. You will see a video, maybe it's gone viral. I don't spend a lot of time in other social media spaces, of a person in custody in Las Vegas, Nevada. He's in an interrogation room. He's super irate. He's trying to get his hand out of the cuff. He's cuffed by what I believe is his right hand. Couple officers, detectives come in to try to stop him, subdue him, because he's getting kind of irate. He takes the gun of a female detective. A melee ensues. They detain this subject, get the gun back. Problem solved. On to the next thing. We shared this, and in sharing it, we shared it with a few key points in mind. There was a couple paragraphs of verbiage that was shared with the video. And what I want to talk about is, one, what was in that video and what we can learn from it. Two, what I think is the much bigger picture. So if we think about knowledge, we can gather knowledge from really anything if we pay attention. We talk about awareness a lot at CarryTrainer, and awareness is not just looking at bad guys or looking at traffic or being aware. Aware is also making a conscious choice of what we will visually, audibly, the rest of our senses, or our mind, what we are going to choose to fixate upon to take in information. You can be aware of the television all day long. You can be aware of talk radio. You can be aware of social media. You are taking in that information all day long. As such, that begins to craft the totality of your life. It also crafts how you interact with the world. So if you go look at that video, you'll see tons of comments. You'll see comments, some of them suggesting somebody should have pulled a blade out and cut the man's tendons. Well, just from like a pragmatic standpoint, yes, cutting his tendons would make it hard for him to hold a gun. 4 adults with the subject fighting for a weapon. Yeah, let's add a blade to the mix. Think about that. Somebody suggested he should have been shot in the head. Again, 3-4 human beings fighting for a gun in a confined space. People commenting, clearly the people commenting here never have trained. Well, how do you know that? People commenting, this person should have never went in that room with a gun. People commenting, this is why females shouldn't be officers. I think the chick did a very good job of jumping immediately into action and grabbing onto that weapon and actually applying some really good blows to this guy to try to knock him off kilter to get that gun back. None of those things are what we talked about in that video. Friends of mine that are officers or in law enforcement brought up that normally it is not policy to bring a firearm into an interrogation interview room. I didn't mention that for a lot of reasons. The number one takeaway that we talked about was understanding that when we train with a gun, we need to train for reality. If we're only training to do good at class or do good at a match or do good filming our stupid social media videos, I'm sorry, I've got a little indignation about it. I'm kind of tired of the whole gun culture right now because of what I'm going to talk about next. And I love you all. That's why I'm spending the time to do this, because I think we can do better. But back to the point. We're training for something that's not real. I didn't bring up the fact that it's not policy to take a gun in the room because most of us are never going to be in an interrogation room with a subject. But you know what we do? What we do every day is we leave our homes, our businesses, and we go into the world with a firearm somewhere on our body, where every day there is another human or humans in close proximity to us, where a gun can be taken from you. Proximity and retention. That's what I talked about in the video, yet somehow we went down a rabbit hole of this piece of shit should be shot. Now all of a sudden we're judge and jury. Now all of a sudden we are judging this person not based on just what we saw, but what this person was charged with. We had some individuals say, well, this man was charged with killing a child, which is horrible. Well, I brought up the point that we are indeed innocent until proven guilty. Somebody brought up the point that he confessed. Because you confess does not mean that you are guilty or proven guilty. It doesn't mean that I am defending this person. Logic. reason, knowledge. Our founders talked about logic, reason, and knowledge constantly. They talked about these things and they compared them to a lamp that they could be guided by. See, we have lost our way to the point that we have way more knowledge than any of us can consume, but we choose through conscious choice on what to give our attention, our awareness to. You can go onto the internet right now and watch college-level law courses. You can watch Harvard Law, the Great Courses app on the internet. You can watch courses from Harvard, from Loyola, from major universities where you're watching the actual college course. Did you know that? That's pretty darn cool. Yet instead we watch social media. We have access to the finest education in the world, oftentimes for little to no money or even free. Yet we choose to give our attention and our awareness to just nonsensical circus acts. And in some ways, the material I share can be circus acts shit. When I'm out on the slack line, screwing around, doing stuff, yes, there are lessons, but I'm also trying to get views, man. I got to run a business, got to get views, got to get likes. Ugh. Isn't it disgusting that we profess to care so much for the protection and defense of liberty, yet we do so little to do it? Knowledge. Check out what a few of our founders talked about in regards to logic and reason and knowledge. Benjamin Rush, an essay he wrote in 1786. Benjamin said, "It is favorable to liberty. Freedom can exist only in the society of knowledge. Without learning, men are incapable of knowing their rights. And where learning is confined to a few people, liberty can be neither equal nor universal. Freedom can only exist in the society of knowledge." Check out what James Madison said. "The advancement and diffusion of knowledge is the only guardian of true liberty." John Adams said, "Always stand on principle, even if you stand alone." Samuel Adams said, "If virtue and knowledge are diffused among the people, they will never be enslaved. This will be their great security." That was a letter that he wrote to James Warren in 1779. This was a 5-minute cursory look of grabbing a few quotes. All of these men talked about the need for knowledge. All of them had a thirst for knowledge. Jefferson, Adams, Franklin, Washington, many of them self-taught. When I talk with you guys in the comment section, some of you think that I'm being flippant or rude. Not at all. I care about you guys. I assume you care about me. That's why we have an interaction together. That's why some of us train together. We must demand more from ourselves. We must elevate ourselves. If we continue to have such nonsensical, trivial, meaningless conversations, if we cannot even have a conversation where we can adhere to a line of thought, how are you even having a conversation? It's what I call a circle jerk. You're just wasting time. You'll notice that there are certain people that don't engage in comment sections, maybe big social media personalities. It's not because they don't care about you. It's because they know that it's a waste of life to just jump into a noisy room where people are yelling. We must elevate ourselves. Again, Rush said, "It is favorable to liberty. Freedom can only exist in a society of knowledge. Without learning, men are incapable of knowing their rights. And where learning is confined to a few people, liberty can be neither equal nor universal." Never, ever in the history of mankind has the knowledge of man been so accessible. Don't seek to win an argument. Seek to learn. Seek to grow. Walk a higher line. That's the room that we're in. The point of the podcast that we have is so that we can bring people in that know things we don't, so that they can share with us, so that we can increase our knowledge, which in itself makes us better at protecting and defending liberty. Don't seek to just be right. Seek to do right. Seek to find right. Care about each other, man. I care about you. Don't be dickheads. Tell somebody you love them. Peace out.
I said I got me some gunfighter gun law. Gunfighter gun law, baby. Gunfighter gun law. No more gunfighter blues. Made in the USA. Amazing lubricity. 100% synthetic, baby. So it's gonna last you longer. So go on CarryTrainer.com and order yourself some gunfighter gun or gunfighter lube to get rid of your gunfighter blues. I said go on and order yourself some gunfighter lube. Gunfighter lube. Yeah!